A component has a life cycle managed by Angular. Angular creates the component, renders it, creates and renders its children, processes changes when its data-bound properties change, and then destroys it before removing its template from the DOM. Angular provides a set of lifecycle hooks we can use to tap into this lifecycle and perform operations as needed. Since this is a Getting Started course, we'll limit our focus to the three most commonly used lifecycle hooks. Use the onInit lifecycle hook to perform any component initialization after Angular has initialized the data-bound properties. This is a good place to retrieve the data for the template from a backend service, as we'll see later in this course. Use the onChanges lifecycle hook to perform any action after Angular sets data-bound input properties. We have not yet covered input properties. We'll see those in the next module. Use the onDestroy lifecycle hook to perform any cleanup before Angular destroys the component. To use a lifecycle hook, we implement the lifecycle hook interface. We talked about interfaces earlier in this module. Since Angular itself is written in TypeScript, it provides several interfaces we can implement, including one interface for each lifecycle hook. For example, the interface for the onInit lifecycle hook is onInit. Notice that it is not prefixed with an I. We are using the onInit interface from Angular, so any guesses as to our next step? Yep, we need to import the lifecycle hook interface. We can then write the hook method. Each lifecycle hook interface defines one method whose name is the interface name prefixed with ng for Angular. For example, the onInit interface hook method is named ng onInit. Our first step here of implementing the interface is actually optional. Recall from our discussion of interfaces earlier in this module that neither ES5 nor ES 2015 support interfaces. They are features of TypeScript. That means that the interfaces are transpiled out of the resulting JavaScript. So we don't really have to implement the interface to use lifecycle hooks. We can simply write code for the hook method. However, it is good practice and provides better tooling when we implement the interface. At this point in our application, we don't need to implement any lifecycle hooks, but we'll use them in later modules. So let's try them out now. We are looking at the product list component. We'll add the onInit lifecycle hook to this component. First, we implement the interface by adding it to the class signature. Type implements and the name of the interface, onInit. The interface name is showing an error, and we know why. We don't have the import. Let's add that now. Since onInit is also imported from Angular 2 Core, we simply add it to our first import statement by typing a comma and onInit. Now we have another syntax error here. Class product list component incorrectly implements interface onInit. As the message states, now that we've implemented the interface, we must write code for every property and method in that interface. The ng-onInit interface only defines one method, ng-onInit, so we need to write the code for the ng-onInit method. We'll add it down here by the other methods. Since we don't really need to do anything with this event at this point, we'll just use console.log to log a message to the console. We can view the application in the browser and use the F12 developer tools to open the console and view the logged message. We can see our message here. We'll use ng-onInit later in this course. Up next, we'll build a custom pipe